It's all AI about all kinds of different things. Hi,
Yeah,
everybody.
we're going live.
We're
We're live,
live,
and we're not AI. That's what
and we're
Dorothy
not
always.
in. We were complaining. You guys might have. We're not sure exactly if you caught us complaining or not, but yeah, we were just talking about so much AI content now. Nancy Jane was just saying on here on YouTube, you say that there's a
Mm-hmm.
report out that 50% of
Of every
the
show that's put up
everything that
that's narrated is narrated by an AI voice.
that's crazy. Well, you got
Oh,
us
believe.
live. You got
So
us live. You'll see.
yeah, we're real. We're real.
We're real. We're adjusting our chair. Our hair's a mess. All that stuff.
Well, no, I my hair my the guy who's cut my hair for over 40 years had a heart attack on a cruise ship 2 months ago.
Oh
He's
Jesus,
supposed to come back to work the first of
that's terrible.
September, and trust me, if he doesn't soon, my hair is going to look like yours, but it'll be. And my hair,
Oh,
you almost got
look,
to see
it's
my.
way down to here. It's way. This has taken me years. My hair
I
doesn't
know,
grow
I know. Well,
fast.
mine won't grow that fast, but
Yeah.
and you almost got to see me white haired today, because
Ooh.
I used a purple dye. It was a different
Hmm.
one than the one, a temporary dye, and
Yeah.
it turned my hair kind of brick red instead
Oh
of
boy.
purple, and so I've
Yeah.
been trying to wash it out, and it's not washing out. So then I put my old purple on top of it, and then my daughter said, "How come your hair's red?" So we decided I'm just going to strip everything out.
Yeah.
So I got a hair stripper, you know, that stuff that takes all. Well, you don't because you don't do it.
No, I don't. No, I don't do anything with my
Well,
hair.
anyway,
I just wash it.
it will take my hair back to white where my hair would be if I didn't
All
do anything
right.
with it. But then you have to let it rest for a couple days. And I went in to go do it, and I read the instructions, and it won't remove purple.
Okay.
So I got to
Oh,
take that with me.
oh, that sucks, Nancy Jean. You
Hallelujah,
might want to
we're
give us some.
real.
You might want to give us some time. Anyways, hi everybody. We're going to talk about like what we said
Eclipses.
what we're going to talk about. We're doing this live. We're recording this live just a day and 2 days before the lunar eclipse that will be on either the 27th or the 20th. It's in the middle of the night.
It's
Um,
into
so
it's going
it
to be
doesn't matter.
full.
Pick it up. Yep.
Right. It's going to be full where I live at 11:16 in the evening. So
Right.
that's
So mhm.
12:16 in where you are, Dorothy. Mountain
Yep, it's
time
on
is
the 28th.
10:16
Hmm.
and 9:16 in California. And then
Yep.
if you're in Hawaii and stuff, you can take care of it yourself. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So it's yeah, so that means if a lunar eclipse, which is the
mm-hmm.
full moon, if it's a lunar eclipse, it is a full moon. They're not separate things. They are two titles for the same thing. They're just
Mm-hmm.
lined up, and you can see it as long as it's. We're going to have rain that night, so I won't be able. To, most likely, won't be able to see it. It's going to be like 95%. It won't be all. It won't be all red. It'll the shadow. You'll barely even get to notice it, but you'll be able to see it. It's it's nice. It's not one of those blood moons, but that's special. It's special events for that. But anyways, yeah. And so, plenty of us, and we've heard from Catherine especially, um, just on how there is so much information out there. You and I were just talking about that before we went
Mm-hmm.
live, on how there's just so much information. And it's not conflicting information, it's just a lot of information because whoever you're listening to, whatever astrologer you're listening to, is just talking about it from from whatever their direction is, whatever their perspective is, because we all have our own personalities and we all like to focus on things
Mm-hmm.
in whatever way is best for us. I'm the same way. you know I always want to focus on, well, the eclipses are important to pay attention to, and you can watch them do things in a national way or um, a global environment, if you will. But I just want to know, how's it impacting you and what's it doing for you, and how you know how we want to work with that. And yeah, and what was it? Somebody was asking um, about, oh yeah, it was from my Facebook page about, well, do we feel it right then? When do we feel it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, X, Y, and Z. And through my whole life, depending on the eclipse, sometimes depending on how it's impacting my own personal chart and whatever's going on in my life, Some eclipses I've felt them on those days. But I'm in my 60s. I've experienced a lot of eclipses,
Mm-hmm.
and so most of us have. And so sometimes you do feel it on the day of the eclipse, and sometimes you'll say, "Oh, they're saying something," but I've already experienced all of that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling it ahead of time then,
Mm-hmm.
which we can certainly do, especially depending on how sensitive you are or the sign that it's in and all of those things. And then sometimes it takes an activation of the exact degree that whichever eclipse you're looking at gets activated by something else in the sky later down the road. And
Mm-hmm.
so all of that is quite significant too. So there's a lot there, right?
There's a lot there. And right now, the moon is sort of, there's a thing called a void. We're in a void moon right today.
At this moment that we're recording, is that what you're asking? Yeah, let me look. I don't know.
What a void course moon means that the moon is not directly
No, it's not. It's all
aspecting
done.
something on the chart, some spot on the chart.
Any planet. It's the Ptolemy aspects. When the moon makes its last aspect of the 5 Ptolemy aspects,
Mm-hmm.
those are, the conjunction, the sextile, the square, the trine, the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
After the moon is done making that to any planets, just those 5 aspects,
Mm-hmm.
just to planets, then it is considered void of course until it enters the next zodiac sign.
That's right.
And today it already ended. It ended at Eastern time at 5 a.m. this morning.
Okay.
So we're in the moon as we are recording this. The moon's in Aquarius,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're being analytical and we're talking astrology, and all of that's really good. Yeah, Mercury just entered Virgo today too, so we have a lot of details that we can hammer out.
Yeah, I can
And
feel
so,
that one. I've got all these pesky little details I've been able to keep out of my mind. I woke up
yeah,
this morning with doing what I hate to do early in the morning, which is my grocery list of what I need to do. But anyway, here's the questions we got
okay.
on my channel. Um, my frequencies have been very intense, um, tingling throughout my chest area. First of all, Marianne, I presume you don't feel like it's the sort of thing you ought to go see a doctor about. Yeah, it is an
That's
intense.
my first that's my first comment too. I'm going to go right to the physical stuff. Is like,
Right.
all right, go to the doctors right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then
No, I
go for
think
it.
it is. We've gone through, and you're going through. I know, Marianne, I know a little more about her life than I know about most people in chat. And she's gone through a lot of changes in her life. And this is the letting go moon, and you've been letting go of a lot going into retirement. So this is
Mhm.
going to be a big letting go for you. It's going to be a big
Yeah.
anniversary time for that.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the frequencies and the energy. And it might not have anything to do with the eclipse, even though that's what we're talking about today. But
Mm-hmm.
it could still be. I mean, the reality is, it might not have anything to do with the eclipse that's coming up. I mean, in between a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, this is just how they panned out this time around. Just 2 weeks between a new moon and a full moon, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
It usually is pretty intense, and there's a lot of intensity going on with the planets in the sky. But there's also, I mean, I don't pay attention to solar flares. Some people might. Those are always going to react to us and just stir up our sensitivities for sure. So here she says, yeah, no doctor. So for her, that's
Well, I
fine
don't.
as far as what's going
I didn't
on.
think it was a doctor type thing.
No, I didn't either, but we have to be responsible people. And it's like, all
Oh,
right,
I
if
know.
you got,
We can't
yeah,
do not take any. Don't live your life like I've lived mine, or you're gonna end up in the hospital and and you'll end up going
we
through the
don't
right
want
kind of
that.
stuff.
We don't want that. And so, what eclipses will do is they'll bring something to our attention. Like something is really tickling my nose. They'll bring something to our attention, and usually, especially with the lunar eclipse, it's always about an awareness of something. So, as we're recording this before the eclipse, we can start to recognize or feel something. The moon, it will be eclipsed in the sign of Pisces. And so what that tells us and what we will start paying attention to before the eclipse and even during it is just feeling our intuition, trusting our intuition, and recognizing, this is almost different, but not recognizing where we don't have any clarity on something or where we're feeling confused about something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the lunar, some of the pieces of what that lunar eclipse can show us. And it's
Mm-hmm.
also about boundaries. And it's also, about, do I need more? I'm not saying being overly emotional is a problem, but am I being more emotional here than I shouldn't be? Or is because it's interfering with my own well-being, mental health or physical.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important to pay attention to those things. That's what that a lunar eclipse in Pisces represents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gives us all of those opportunities. So, you want to watch out for those things, not just these first few days before we get to the eclipse, but for a while afterwards too. We really need to pay attention to those things. And I want people to do that, because it will help us to just to see things more clear than not. And one more piece of the full moon lunar eclipse. There's more we'll get to, but since it is a full moon, it's about awareness of what we're needing to release. So releasing control, releasing confusion, releasing what we don't understand. And we do that by engaging the other side of the eclipse, which is the sun in Virgo. Meaning we can do that by being grounded, focusing on the details, being present, being in the moment. The one thing I've been doing a lot lately is just out deep into the woods. Maybe that's why I feel this way. And because I get grounded and then I'm not in my head so much all the time. And it helps me to get grounded. So what do you guys do? That's a question.
I don't go out in the woods in Texas because it's 108 degrees. So
That's true.
Even in the woods,
you guys are having some really hot times.
Well, we had such a cool summer coming up till now. I can't really gripe about it because it hasn't been this way. I lived through in 1980, it was 100 degrees for 100 days. And that was brutal because I had little kids and I had to go to work.
Here in New Hampshire, this summer so far, in July, I think it was in July or early August, I can't remember. I think we've had about 7 or 8 days over 90. And, that's a lot for us.
And that's the time that here it should have been over 90. And we had some days that didn't even get to 90. And I was like, and then I talked to my friends up north and it was warmer there than it was here. At least we're geared for it. But we're not gonna listen to Texas weather report. It's sad. Here's Catherine T is in Michigan, and she goes, "This is a two-parter. The energies for me have been very intense and continue to be so. I'm doing everything I can to rest and take care of everything that keeps popping up. I know that the eclipse energy, and I told you it's a long question, can last. This is this part that we want to talk. Last 6 to 18 months. I'm very confused about these overlaps that astrologers mention. They say look back a certain month and year, blah blah blah. How do these time frames blend? Now Dorothy's going to explain. You need to know your chart.
Yeah. You do. You need to know your chart, or you need to hire a professional twice a year, and we'll go over
Don't call me about your chart.
Just that's what I recommend. It really is. I just have to self-promote here, but it's just that is what it really comes down to. Unless you're a professional astrologer that can read your chart and you can follow patterns. I have a knack for following patterns. I think that's why astrology, it's never easy, but I understand it, right? I can't follow tarot to save my life. Well, I probably could to save my life, but it just who, just like but the thing is, it's like, Catherine, what happens is like when we have a new moon starts every monthly cycle, and then it starts other type of Saros cycles, SAROS, and there is a million of those things. There's just a ton of those that are going on at a time. They last for thousands of years, so there's long cycles well beyond human capacity. It talks about nations and countries is what we look at. So anyways, there's that long pattern that's going on. There's so much stuff. It's like running a computer. There's so many different things running in the back of this computer right now that I'm using and what you're watching us on, but we don't have any clues going on, but it's all set up to work perfectly. Next, we have other types of cycles. I like to watch a longer cycle that's not just every 6 months, because 6 months from now, we will have a new moon in Pisces, and that's where the 6-month comes from, because right now we have this eclipse at 4 degrees of Pisces, and 6 months from now, let me reach my book, hold on, 6 months from now, get my other ephemeris for next year. Next year's is out, guys, go get it. Next year we'll have a new moon, which is 6 months from now, and let me see if I can find the page somewhere on page 30.
For those of you who, I don't know what hole you've lived in, but an ephemeris is like it's like a timetable for the planets. And
yeah, it is. Perfect way to say it. Thank you, Nancy Jane. Yeah, on March 8, 2027 is a new moon in Pisces. It's not anywhere near the same number as the eclipse that we have on the 27th or the 28th of August, but it's near it. That's the 6-month cycle that they're talking about. I don't follow that one because that one to me doesn't feel as significant as a cycle I follow. Every new moon starts a 3-year cycle. I mean, and it's called the lunar gestation cycle. Gestation is 9 months. We have a new moon at a certain number, and then 9 months after that, we have the first quarter moon. So that's when the moon looks like a half a circle. Right. It's right within 5 degrees of where that new moon was. 9 months after that, we have a full moon. And if it's an eclipse, it's even better. We have a full moon in the same area of the zodiac within 5 degrees. 9 months after that, last quarter moon, finishing up things. 9 months after that, then the cycle starts again. It's all within like 5 or 6 degrees in one area of the zodiac. It's called the lunar gestation cycle. Dietrich Pessin is the one who wrote the book on this just back in the early 2000s. So it's not an old cycle. It's not an old awareness of a pattern like this. I love working with that because 3 years is a time frame that you can actually begin something, take your time with it, be aware of it, and start finishing things up, complete it, and then start another process that looks similar. And if we have a full moon, this full moon lunar eclipse we have on the 28th of August is halfway through a cycle like that. So I would tell you to go back to certain dates, 2 prior dates, 18 months ago and then 9 months ago from the August 28th eclipse. And what were you started? What did you initiate? What was begun? Always journal at new moons. That's a ritual that I would tell you to do every new moon, whether you care about, well, you're listening to us. You guys like rituals. Do something, journal about what's going on at every new moon. And if you like to do manifestation stuff, that's the time to plant that seed. And then 9 months later, we get to work with it. 9 months after that is a full moon, which is where we're at now. Full moon lunar eclipse, especially powerful stuff, full awareness about what's working. It's like getting ready to harvest the garden. It's just like, what can I squeeze out of the garden by taking out the stuff that I need to harvest to get the rest of the plant to continue to thrive. It's a thriving period. The full moon lunar eclipse period of thriving, also a period of looking at what I need to do to let go. So what I have working, it will continue to thrive. That's how we do that ritual. That's why we reflect on what was. That's why we process and do ritual to create intention. And then as we move further beyond this full moon eclipse is when we integrate things. So that's like the title, that's the title of today's broadcast. It's like how we do these three things. We reflect, we go with ritual, and then we do integration. And that's how we do it. And that's a long-winded answer.
No,
but it's information.
Key points in that is,
yeah.
And I know people say, oh, journal stuff. Well, if you're not going to journal any other time of the year, journal during eclipses, because then I'm not telling you to do it every day, but I can tell you one of the things that when I was first locked down in my house all the time, I was following a lot of Joe Dispenza stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things is he always says is, because you think it, it doesn't make it real.
Right.
So because you got thoughts, and trust me, that's a safe way for my brain to function because it has some weird thoughts. But if you take a thought, and I know this is true, if you write things down, that physical act of writing does create a reality for that thought.
It does.
And it gives you a chance to see it in our universe and say, well, that's bullshit. Or look and say, well, that's very real. And sometimes I'll go back in I have notebooks from when we were in lockdown. And I was starting to deal with Addie, my guide. And I asked Addie one day, I was doing some automatic writing, and I said, do I have other guides besides Addie? And that's when I met Frank. And
Frank.
Yeah, Frank.
It's my landlord's name.
Is he from Albania? Because my Frank was...
No, he's from Rye.
The last trip my Frank had, Frank was a protector, and he's a huge... I've never seen his face. He's always wearing a leather coat, and he's from the early American colonies, but when a lot of people left Albania and Italy, a lot of people that claim they're Italians are actually Albanians because it's the same thing. And they came over here, and I had lived in New York for 6 weeks, and I spent a lot of time doing walking tours.
Yeah.
And one of the places I walked to, and I didn't even realize it was a deal till I saw a movie about it later, called 5 Points. And 5 Points was an area where a lot of Italians and a lot of immigrants all got stuffed into this tiny little place. Well, I remember walking through that area of New York and just not even needing the map to know where to walk to the next thing. It was like,
Yeah, you just have one of those feelings.
Right. And Frank was a protector of his people. He's like Addie came over on a slave ship in the hold. She chose to come into the human form. The Addie I met in my vision of her was when she was in that enslaved state in the Carolinas. They weren't even North or South Carolina. It was before we were even colony. I mean, we're still colonies, but and she was there to protect her people, and they said that's why they work with me, because I'm here to try and guide and protect the people.
Nice. That's nice.
And to work with them, and I take that role very seriously, and that's why I get very angry when I see readers who go for the easy dime.
Yeah.
That's why I don't watch politics up on Sunday. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, there's plenty more to talk about now. I have that too, questions that you guys can do to work with. But again, when it comes to this eclipse, it's like, it really depends. Somebody who's going through, we talked about this earlier, somebody who say, everybody's heard, not everybody, but a lot of people have heard of Saturn return. Happens around 28 and 56, and then late in your 80s. And so, the reason I bring that up is like, if we're all having we're all experiencing these eclipses. We're all alive. We're all experiencing it. But if you're having this eclipse and this year you're having your Saturn return at 28, you're going to be experiencing what that eclipse might expose to you way differently than somebody who's twice as old, who's 56, 58, something like that, and just has a whole different focus in life. At 28, you're starting a family, buying a
Mhm.
house, your career is going through shifts for you to climb the ladder if that's part of it. But at 56 or so, it varies a little bit person to person, but right around that second Saturn return, we're starting to think about, ooh, what do I have to sustain me for this
Mhm.
last third of my life? So it's very different. So, anyways, I hope that example is clear enough where it just depends on where you are in your life and what your life experiences are now. I say this in every long form video I do. It's up to you. You need to know what you're experiencing in your life. And I don't have clients anymore that want me to tell them everything of what to do, but I do have clients that want to know what's happening. How can I work with this? Give me some timing and, let's go. And I'm like, good, because you're empowered yourself. And so that's how we can't tell everybody. Even if I was to tell you what house it's in, I still would want to know what else is going on in your life. And so that's why it's just good to have a session every 6 months, can cover all the big heavy hitters and things like that. Just a thought.
Yeah.
So,
No. And the thing is, you got to realize if you listen to enough astrologers, and we've talked about it, you
mhm,
choose your chart when you're standing
mhm.
on the other side, and you choose your parents.
Yeah.
Which I knew that long time ago, and my
What
kids.
lessons? It's so hard for some people because some people have incredibly difficult parents, childhood. It's
Oh,
hard
I
to
know.
hear that. It's
Oh,
hard
I
to
know.
hear that. And I know it
And
is. I can recognize that.
when my kids were little, and they'd scream at me about, well, you're not being a good mommy, and you're not doing da 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 da, and I'd look at them and I'd go, you chose me, live with it, and that stopped that argument completely. But anyway, but
Yeah.
okay, for y'all who are out there trying to figure out how do I work with the chart, you get a good chart, you get it with someone who knows the times. Now, I was born in a city, and you have to be very there. It was during the times that they were messing with daylight savings time with the late
Yeah,
70s.
that's a little tough. In the these wartime charts, there's, savings times and standard times, and and we're going to experience that this year, I hear. So we'll find out. But yeah, it matters. It's on your birth certificate. Yeah, your
Yeah,
astrologer can
it depends on which
decipher it.
state you're in, but
Hmm.
and people I so you can go to one of those things that will draw a chart for you, but I went to one of the ones that's one of the best that I know of,
Hmm.
and because I'm born, my ascendant is at in the very latter edge of Scorpio,
Yeah,
and um, it came up with it. My ascendant was in Sagittarius,
yeah.
and
That
I
just
wrote it
took a
back.
minute. I know it just took a minute.
Yeah, and I said, that's wrong. And then they went back and they go, oh, well, yeah, when they looked and they said, oh, yeah, time had changed, so you would be. So you need to go to a good astrologer
Hmm.
who knows what they're talking about.
Yep.
And I had already studied astrology a long time ago. I feel the same way about astrology that Dorothy does about tarot.
Yeah, I figured you would. I
Um,
mean, I appreciate it, but boy, oh boy, I just can't do it.
oh, I think, and and when I've had things and been able to put my weasel little brain can put the pieces together.
Yeah, I like my Oracle decks. I just use Oracle decks. These are my two favorites
That's
right
what I
here.
think are cheating. But anyway, that's okay.
Those are my Oracle decks. I
Yeah,
like them.
they're fun. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever floats your boat, but you need to get a good chart. And then
Yeah.
once you have a chart, then even I look at my chart and I've studied it and I'm going, what's all this? I
Hmm.
had, bef- I have kind of thing in my life about my father wasn't my father because my mother had an affair in the middle of her marriage and no one knew about it until I was about to give birth to a baby, and all my family is O negative blood except me. And if you know anything about blood types, that can't happen.
Okay.
So, and weirdly enough, the doctor who delivered my son, my father had saved his life. He was in an auto accident as a teenager.
Oh,
My
how
father,
cool.
He knew who my family was.
That's
He
nice.
really, he was really great. I'm glad I had somebody like that because he knew my family, he knew what was going
Yeah.
on. He said, "You have to decide what you're going to do with it. I will not spoil it. Spoiler alert for everybody. I'm not going to tell you what I did. Whether
Okay.
my mother knew I knew, but my dad never knew that I. He never figured it out. Anyway, or
So
he
what's
did.
going on here? People are talking about Dolly Parton dying. Now that's been a rumor that's gone around quite a few times. I wonder if it's true.
I don't know. I can look at it real quick on my phone.
I don't know.
I
But
kept hearing Dolly, and I was like,
yeah, that's crazy. Oh, so Marianne, you go outside and you put your feet on the ground for 20 minutes.
right.
Terrific. That's perfect. Good for you. Good for you. When I was on my walking today, I have a great place to walk. Just as I was getting ready to get into
She
my
died
car.
today.
What? She did?
Died.
Oh, what a shame.
Mm-hmm.
No way. She has not been well. Oh, that's a shame.
She's 80 years old.
That was a rumor, but that's been rumored for
That's only
years. And
2 years
so
older than me. That's not a good time. She was a young chicken, man.
shit. Oops, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the grounding is important. Well, we'll send her some. She's got lots of sparkle and light, so
Oh yeah,
she she going to heaven with a with a spotlight for sure.
yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah.
But
Wow.
to kind of get back to what we can do with our stuff, the reason you need to
Mhm.
know your chart is because there will be big things that will happen
Mhm.
astrologically, and they may be hitting someone else's chart really hard, and it may not be hitting yours
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah. I will always be somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
whether, all 12 zodiac signs are around you somewhere. Because when we cast your chart, we pretend each one of us, we're the center of the universe. It's what we do, of the solar system. The sun is, of course, but it's a geocentric system, meaning we put us in the middle and we triangulate the chart by knowing the person's longitude and latitude and the time of day. That's why the time of day matters, because of the spin of the earth. And so, no matter who you are, what somebody has said, your sun, moon, rising, any of that, what houses and all of that stuff, um, it's happening somewhere in that 360 degrees that is around us 100%. And so, that's what happens. And so, one more thing that's going to go on with this eclipse, though, because you would think the moon in Pisces lunar eclipse is something that is just like, I'm going to be at a herbal conference. I'm lecturing,
Mm-hmm.
doing some astrology at a big herbal conference on Friday and Sunday of the
Mm-hmm.
weekend of the eclipse, and we'll have the leader of the event will do a ritual and a bunch of different things, because we're all 300 women, and it's just going to be beautiful and meditative and intuitive and all of those things. But we have the planet Uranus in Gemini, which is like lightning striking in a storm, and it's halfway between where this eclipse is, where the sun and the
Mm-hmm.
moon, right here and here, they're
Mm-hmm.
opposite. Uranus is right there or there, doesn't matter, halfway, sparking things up. So Uranus is going to create a wild card effect. Even though some lunar eclipses people think are wild cards, this one not so much all by itself. But
But
with Uranus and Gemini, information, sudden, unexpected, like lightning bolt information, excuse me, it's going to wake us up. There is something is really going to create a shift of some kind that we're dealing with. So with Uranus and Gemini, I just do your rituals of release with that full moon and be open to hearing information, having something channel in, having something to just be open for sudden realizations. I mean, spend time working with this in your life if you are looking for something to be different and something to change, because that Uranus square the sun and square the moon, squaring the eclipse, will bring in unexpected events for us to work on. So be open. Who wouldn't?
Okay. Well,
It
here's
doesn't
one.
have to be bad either.
There can be fun
Mm-mm.
things that happen.
Yes.
So, why does the lens on the right side of my glasses always crack right in front of my pupils? Same place
No idea.
every time. Um,
Something is not lined. I wear glasses. So do you.
are you
Huh.
right-handed? Is she right-handed? Shifting veils. If you're
Three
right-handed, that
shifting veils. I'm just going to pick one card. Circle of life. It just keeps
she said
happening.
yes. It's happening in frequencies.
It
Let's see.
just keeps happening.
Just keeps happening. I'm gonna
you
pull
know,
you. I'm gonna pull you a card out of Nate's deck.
the right eye, I believe, is Aries. Is ruled by Aries. If I can remember the medical astrology, I not quite. I can't remember. I think it does. Whoops, it's right here. Yeah, you pull a card, and I'm gonna get the right. I'm gonna see if I can.
Oh,
There we go.
and you got probably the prettiest devil. Isn't he
Oh,
cute, devil? But this is an
yes.
religious deck, and it's the devil, the fallen angel. And that's the devil made you do it. It's to remind you to get grounded. I would think
Yeah.
things start breaking around you.
Eyes, eyes, eyes. Oh, the right eye of a female is the moon. So, I mean, and then what I would
That would be
do,
your subconscious, yeah.
yeah, and we're talking about a lunar eclipse, but this is a pattern that happens, you said, all the time. I would look at what your moon sign is, and I would go from there. And we could, even though it seems like an interesting question, we would go
I
from
think I
there
would
to.
insure my glasses.
I don't know. There's definitely got to be something.
This is Marianne. I go put my
Yeah.
foot in the ground for 20 minutes. Uh, in my grounding meditation time, it helps me get out of my head. And that's true because you're connecting to all that lovely energy in the ground.
Yeah, we need to be grounded if we're going to be spiritual. It's the that whole access.
I changed the mic volume a little bit. I've got it up as high as I can get it. I can't. This
Nancy Jean, you sound fine to me.
okay, because I don't know. It's like I've been listening and
Do you use a microphone? I mean, I
yeah,
have a microphone. It's
yeah,
off. It's off screen here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a microphone.
Okay. Uh oh. We lost Nancy Jean. Oh my goodness. I'm surprised we're still here. Well, there we go. She'll come back in, hopefully. And so, I'm gonna run this all by myself, guys. All right, so maybe we can talk about a few of the things that I wanted to cover until she comes back in. And oh dear, the poor thing. Um, what you can watch for. Here's some things that you can watch for over the next few weeks. Because of this eclipse, everything we've talked about already, as well as this Uranus coming in at a 90-degree angle to this eclipse. So be open for unexpected information to come through, sudden changes in how you're thinking or looking at something, right? It's super important for that to happen. And then we have an opportunity here for you to see or have to see something from a different perspective. That Uranus in Gemini is going to do that for us over a number of years now. So that's pretty big. If you have some plans made or you always do things in the same way, it looks like she's back. Is she back? It's there's no camera and I can't hear you yet. But I'm going to keep talking until we hear you. Just say hello when you're ready. Be aware, there you are, that we have plans that might need to be adjusted.
Am I on? Yeah.
You are. There you go. We won't ask about your microphone again. It shut you right down.
It says you touched me. I just
Oh, sorry. I just kept talking. I was like, all right,
no,
well, I'm
that's fine.
still.
That's happened to me 4 shows in a row where one
No
or the
way.
other of us got cut off. One
Wow.
was lightning struck right next to Scott's house 10
We
minutes
were
in.
just talking about lightning striking, weren't we? There
Woodpile
you
went.
go. What? Yeah,
I'm
that's pretty amazing.
sorry.
So take this Uranus squaring the lunar eclipse and just honestly try something different, do something different,
Mm-hmm.
walk a different place. Just and it doesn't just have to be your mind. I know we can have sudden awarenesses and sudden realizations and just all those fantastic aha moments. And sometimes it could be unexpected occurrences that we don't like, but trust the process that if something happens that you're not happy about, allow it to proceed so you can, it can clear the deck for something else and fresh and new that's coming through. Yeah. So that's where I would start with those things. What do I want to learn differently, or what am I learning about the situation? How am I seeing things differently? I'm just giving you guys lists of different ways to process these eclipses because that's
Mm-hmm.
what we wanted to do. How we work with these eclipses afterwards. Be open to all of the things we've just talked about
Mm-hmm.
and just see what that looks like, where eclipses are important to pay attention to. And again, they're going to be more important for some people than others, but that still doesn't mean if you're not feeling much of anything, you could still use this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces squared by Uranus to just reestablish something in your life that you just needs it, or something fresh and new. If it
I have the garden set up, as you guys couldn't see it, but it was there when we were screwing with trying to get everything turned back on. So
okay,
I'm gonna throw
yes,
universal vibrations in the
let's
garden.
do that.
What does the universe want us to know? For the for the collective that's watching this show, what does it want us to know about this eclipse? Oh wow. Well, it's going to be a big change because we have two stones in the tree of life, which is,
Mhm.
yeah, this pretty much is saying what you and I were saying about. Are you still there?
I am. What is it saying?
Okay, well, I have to find you back. Okay.
I
It
am.
all of a sudden my screen reduced my entire.
That's on you.
That's my computer here, guys. Okay.
Yep.
Um, what it's saying is we're going to start out here in the tree of life, and in the tree of life, which this is all the chakras: root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and a crown. And then we put the tree of life on the edge because it made it even. But anyway,
Right.
and I love the things that tree of life means harmony. And in the tree of life, what's coming out of this is beautiful. Your path, your path is blessed with clarity and wisdom.
Nice.
And for spirit, actions taken without spirit are empty. So this is a time to stay connected to your spirit. If you just go out and do a bunch of vacant actions without any thought of how you're tied to it, it's not going to work. But this is a great time. Now, what's the other stuff saying? Well, our mind is in restate. It says
Mhm.
think about how this situation, how you're viewing the world right now, and rethink and rethink. Doesn't mean stay in your mind, but just because you think it doesn't make it real. And that's kind of what that stone's saying. And
Yeah.
then we have our body, which is between path forward and false. And physical feelings will give you, in other words, when you have the spiritual feeling, you have to feel it in your gut. You have to physically feel the feelings that are happening around you and listen to your body for signals. That's what the false, that's going to be the best temperament. That's going to be the best way to understand our temperament universally. And what's emerging, because when things are in earth, it's what's emerging. And more is being brought forward for us right now.
Right.
So this is a really bright message. It's not, there's no words of warning. It's like, I think when you put um, when you put them more as being brought forward, as things are brought forward, that'll give you a different way to view things and to think about things. So that's kind of where we are with the books. I think it's a lovely
I like
reading.
that.
I'm going to come back to me.
Yeah, I like that. That's nice.
What'd you get,
Yes.
Dorothy?
I just pulled one more card. It's just the smudging ceremony. It's just about fresh and clearing things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this deck. It's just really nature. It's nature
And
oriented.
if you have trouble with, some people tell me, well, I can't, I'd love to be able to burn incense, but I can't. You can get liquid, happens to be dragon's blood, which is really good for
Yeah.
cleaning things up. You can get little things. You can get white sage. You can get um, any of the things you've read about in smudging. You can find them in that, um, and put it in a spray bottle. And I have a spray bottle of dragon's blood in my office, just in case anything creepy.
Yeah, for real. What do we have here? Sandra says
Yeah,
options.
can be divine,
Absolutely.
and that's true.
Yes, Sandra. For real. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's a question for you, Dorothy.
Mm.
People
Yeah, I was reading
say
that.
tempers will flare up during the eclipse, full moon. Is this true?
Sometimes it could be. It depends on what the person's going through. I mean, to be honest with you, the Pisces full moon, which is water. So any of the water signs that happen to be full moon, it does tend to bring emotion to the surface, and it does tend to, since it's Pisces, especially, that people tend to cross boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
When I see the words flare up, I think fire. And there's not a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fire in the chart. Leo's there, Jupiter and Leo, but we're not talking about that. As far as this eclipse and the things directly connected
Mm-hmm.
to this eclipse, I don't see fire. But flaring up, I guess I'm being picky and picking up the minute, the minute piece of what that means. So flaring up, I don't know. Emotional, yes, I could see that. It's possible if you're not a healthy individual, and
Mm-hmm.
drama is part of your life, and if you have yeah, and so it's possible that could be true. Sure, you're going to find somebody somewhere, if you look for it, that's pissed off and angry. You're going to find that, even if it's not an eclipse day. So I don't know, just
And my
sometimes
father,
that's such a general statement. It's like,
mhm.
sure, of course it can happen, because
Well,
it's just so general.
my
Anyway, sorry.
dad, who was not tied to any of this stuff, may I say
Hmm.
that, being a good Presbyterian and a Wesleyan at that,
Hmm.
um, but he used to always say the emergency rooms on full moons were crazier. Even he
Yeah.
admitted, says something happens
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My temper and emotions have been flaring because they aren't listening to what I'm saying, and I'm trying to take care of my mom.
Yeah, that makes sense when you're a caregiver in whatever the capacity is, when you, or whatever. If you're not being heard, you're not being heard. And if you're taking care of your mom, then that means you're a caregiver, and you're probably pretty burnt out. And when you're burnt out, when any person is burnt out, when you don't get heard, you feel that deeply.
Mm-hmm.
This Pisces eclipse will probably amplify that some, because that's just what it will do.
And
Yeah.
here's another way to deal with it. Woodpile Witch set up her altar a few days
Good.
ago.
Nice.
You inspire me to progress. Aw.
Excellent.
Well,
Excellent.
I think for a long time we we sort of focused. Well, when I was younger, of course, I focused on my kids, focused on my job because I wasn't
Mhm.
rather addicted to eating. Um,
That's so funny.
and so, I mean, there were just things that I'd be taking care of. But then when I was totally on my own, I found out I was the best boss I ever had because I could drive me harder than any other boss would ever think about doing.
Yeah.
And I hope I do inspire people because I guess I would find it very freaky to wake up one day without a focus.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna I'm not on my own channel. I'm on the phone. I'm watching Nancy Jean's channel. So I want to,
We have two people from your channel, Dorothy,
okay.
and one of them
All
is
right.
you.
White Bull Crazy says Nancy's mic volume is too low. I don't know what to
I told
say.
you, I've
Yeah.
I don't know what I can say. I know a lot of readers think YouTube's dumbing us down, but Sunday we had people say whether it's too soft or not, and I don't know if it's just a part of the country you're in or where
Yeah.
you are, but I'm not touching my microphone. We already went.
No, we already went through that, and that caused a lot of problems already. YouTube has made a bunch of changes recently as to how they count views and monetization and all of those things. So, but that's different. That's different. Most likely, it's just something internal in Nancy Junior computer somewhere. It's probably that. I don't know.
It's
We
broadcasting it out, but if you can
yeah,
hear other people, I'm sorry, person who can't hear me. And
yeah.
unfortunately, since this is a live, there is not closed captioning because
Oh, that's true.
they'll
Yeah, that's
close
true.
caption after we've done it.
Sandra Dahl says road rage, car accidents. Yeah, yeah. People are. It's because people are stressed out. People have been stressed out for quite a few years now, and or at least 18, 19 months, whatever the whatever that
Five,
countdown number
10
is.
years. Try 10 years.
Yeah.
Um,
People haven't figured out how to regulate their systems, and it's not a critic. That's not.
because
Anyways.
there's no kind of one truth that we think we all believe,
Yeah.
and that's a problem. The principal at the high school where my dad taught
Hmm.
would ask the secretary, "Is it a full moon? Because the kids are acting out."
Yeah. Yeah, the moon affects our emotions. It really
Mhm.
does. Every month. That's what the month is. Month.
Moon.
I
Yes,
was
I
trying
did a
to.
whole thing on when I did a show on, and maybe I'll do another one on it. Why all the different moons have different names. There's a,
That's based off of traditional
mm-hmm,
native
that's native.
cultures,
Mm-hmm,
but native cultures across at least North America here
right.
have are different anyways because depending on your environment.
Well, you're
So
not going to have a cherry moon in Australia because of it's that's based on the cherry blossoms being out, and they ain't gonna be out, right? So
true, or not even in the desert. It's a
no.
lot of plains Indians and plains um, out in the plains. It just yeah, it's very different environment, different name. So that's where all that comes from. That's a little bit different. But I don't know. How are we doing on time? So we have some closing
We got
thoughts.
about 8 minutes, so we need to either come up with some really quick closing thoughts or just
Hmm.
stop.
So just my closing thoughts. I mean, if the bigger picture, is just pay attention to what unfolds. You don't have to let outside influences affect your feelings, your emotions, but they will. And so
Hmm.
you get to manage that. And everybody's going to see this a little bit different. The sun in Virgo means we're paying attention to the details. Mercury's in Virgo now, paying attention to the details, meaning as well, just being present is really important, where we can just focus on now. Doesn't mean we don't have long-term goals, just focus on now. The Pisces moon is asking us to pay attention to how we feel, how sensitive we are, our boundaries, our feelings, our emotions, and that Uranus squaring the whole thing is here for new information, new ideas, sudden awareness, seeing things from a different perspective. Do something different, do something you've never done before, even if it's just when you take your walk. Like today, when I took my normal walk, there's a bunch of different paths through the woods. I
Hmm.
decided to do it in the opposite direction because
Ah,
and I
well,
just did. I mean, you can, it doesn't matter. You're just walking in the woods and, just anything simple to change up your routine. And that's what we want to do. What am I learning? What am I seeing differently? What information has come in? So journal for a little while. And what do you want to do with it? that's your choice.
You did the
No,
old Robert Frost, I took the road less taken.
yes, yeah,
And you're even in his country, so
I am. Yeah, he's not too where he grew up was not too far from here. Yeah, yeah, I'm in New Hampshire. We're
you,
as old as it gets.
yeah,
Because we used
well,
to be part of Massachusetts,
I know.
back in the 1600s. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Massachusetts was a lot bigger.
I know it was. It was.
Then
But
did they take both Vermont and New Hampshire out of Massachusetts?
hmm yep. Part of
Wow.
Vermont was sort of Canada, but it wasn't even Canada back then. So white people make lines.
Yeah.
We do.
That's why there I had a friend whose French Canadian grandparents came from Maine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My family's from Canada and all over the place. And I mean, ancestry.com is getting even better. And I knew my family went back to the late 1600s in Massachusetts. And we've got two more links. And I can't access the most highest one because I got to pay. I got to pay for my membership again.
Hmm.
But it was David Evans, and he was born in Charlestown, Massachusetts in 1620.
We don't
That
get much older than that.
No, it doesn't. He must have been one of the first babies born in the
Were you
colonies.
was your French Canadian line? Did you come from the what they call them, the original mothers, the French women that
Oh, I don't know
uh,
anything about that. No, my
oh,
my
there's a
grandfather, my mom's dad. So my mom's actually a first generation American. I didn't even realize that because my
oh,
mom's dad was born up in Newfoundland, and at the year in the early 1900s, and that was a colony of England. It wasn't even Canadian.
mhm.
So, and then they moved into Vermont and then into Massachusetts. So, and then my
Yeah,
mom was
you
born
don't
in
know about
Massachusetts.
the original mothers was
Mm-mm.
they had all these trappers and all of
Oh,
these
I do
guys
know it. Yes.
and they had no wives or they were marrying native women, which was pissing the tribes off. So
Hmm.
they somehow went all around France and gathered up a whole shipload of women
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I remember that now.
they took them to Canada and said, "Well, you come here, you can get married." I don't think they explained the weather to them. I can't believe anybody got in that ship. But anyway, they loaded up a ship full of women and they brought them to
Yeah.
Canada. And
Yep.
in in Quebec, where the French speaking part, they're very much honored. They're called the original mothers of Canada.
Oh, wow.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I have heard that now that you started talking about it, but I did not remember it on my own. But yeah. And Sandra, you said um, keep a low profile during eclipses. Yeah, that's a I believe that's also a native belief. It's like eclipses, they didn't understand them, so they were like they would not be in, they didn't want it to touch them. So
Oh,
they wouldn't go out.
there was an astrologer who was talking about it, about how he was in India, leading and
Mhm.
working in a conference, and the Western astrologers, when it was a solar eclipse, and they could go outside and see it, and all the people in the room were appalled that these guys would go out and stand in that light or the
Yeah,
limelight.
superstition, but it's not either because I mean their history is
Well, Vedic
goes forever.
astrology is different than
It
what
is Vedic. It is different. It is different.
and what
S-
they
Similar but different.
we all pick what frightens us,
It's so true.
and remember you pick it. So
Yeah.
okay, still signing up people for tarot classes. They'll start on Saturday, September 5th. I teach with Jeffrey. We teach all the cards. It's a
Hmm.
live class. It's not an AI thing.
Hmm.
Um, and so you can get ask questions and do all that other stuff. And then if you want to support my channel, you can go to buymeacupofcoffee.com at buymeacoffee.com and you can put in Nancy Jean's Garden. It'll find me. But I'm
Yeah.
Crystals DRI3. And if you do donate through Buy Me a Coffee, when I get notified that you've contributed, it actually rings a little thing on my phone. It sounds like a little cash register bell. It goes,
Sweet. Might as
but
well have it.
yeah,
Very
and I
animated.
go over and I can reply to you with a video. I do a 30-second oracle card reading as a thank you for
Aw,
contributing to my channel.
that's sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
like
nice.
that.
I enjoy doing it. And I have
Nice.
a couple people that do it every month. I guess that's their monthly Okay,
Monthly reading.
horrible, guys.
Sweet.
But however, anyway, and if you can't, and I understand money's tight because I go to the grocery store occasionally too. Um, if you would please subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Dorothy's channel.
Mhm.
It's Dorothy Morgan, astrologer, and if you just subscribe, when those numbers get higher, then YouTube spreads our videos around better.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
they're changing. They're changing everything in February, though. So that's
who
time will
knows?
tell.
Anyway, we're going to say goodbye
Mhm.
now, and thank you all for being
Thank you,
here.
everybody.
Bye
Enjoy the
bye.
eclipse.